If I would have known this a lot sooner, do you know how much money I would have saved? Think of it as, this is an all digital camera. That's why the battery in it is trash. Their mount does not support it, so you kind of get stuck with using their lenses, and their lenses are okay, but there's better lenses out there. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Maiya Michelle, and today, y'all, it's been long awaited. You guys have asked for this video, but I am doing our first installment of my photography series. I know you guys have been asking for this video for a hot minute, but I don't want to take up too much of our time. We have a lot of stuff to cover, but of course, you know I gotta go ahead and introduce myself for any of you that don't know me. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Maiya. I go by Angles by Maiya on Instagram, or some of you might know me by Maiya Michelle. I am a photographer and creative director. I do videography, I do styling, I love fashion. I love all forms of art, but I'm mainly known for my photography and creative direction. I've been doing photography for 3 years now, and everything else that I do kind of just trickled along through that journey. So yeah, that's a little bit about my experience and you know how long I've been doing this stuff. So let's just hop right into this video. Get you a notepad, get you a pen, a pencil, pull your phone out, because you're finna retain a lot of information. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so you want to start photography, you know, you're fresh, you're new to the industry, or maybe you just want to pick up a camera and see what you can do. The first thing that we need to talk about, of course, is your gear. What is your budget? Now, are you trying to ball out? Are you trying to spend like 5K on a camera, or are you on a little bit of a budget and maybe you want to spend close to like 5 or 8? It's all up to you. I mean, if you got it like that, player, hey, I ain't gonna knock it. But I will say, when you are first starting in photography, you do not want to spend a large amounts of money on your gear just because you're just starting out. You don't know how to use your equipment, and also it's always good to know that like you can have the most cheapest equipment, but if your skills are up to par, it'll blow your quality out the water. There's people out here that have spent tens of thousands of dollars on equipment and they don't know how to use it, so now your money's going all the way down the drain. Now what you like to do is, of course, as you grow into your career and everything, we always love to upgrade. Now when you got the money to ball out on a new camera, do it. I did the same thing. I didn't spend that much on it, but of course through time I spent more on my gear as I got better at my craft. So in terms of buying your first camera, when you're looking into like different cameras, always look what's in your budget. Now I would recommend, if you are just starting out, to look between like the 500 to 1,000 range, somewhere in there. That's a good place to start. My camera that I'm filming on right now is a Canon 80D. I ain't even gonna say I was a little out of it when I bought this camera, but I was, because I paid full price for it, and I will tell you guys, which I should have did in a second. But I spent about $800 on this camera. I want to say it came with a kit lens and some other stuff. I'm not particularly sure, but if I can still find a link for this camera in particular, I'll link it down below. We'll get more into like the differences between different cameras and stuff like that. So remember when I told you guys that, yeah, like I made like a dumb decision when I bought this first camera? Well, I wanted to get a little bit into that and teach you guys kind of something that I never knew when I first started photography. So when I bought my camera, I bought it full price off of Amazon because I didn't know no better. Honestly guys, when I started photography, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have nobody teaching me. So YouTube University and word of mouth was the only thing that I had. Now, if I would have known this a lot sooner, do you know how much money I would have saved? So I'm gonna put y'all on. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these two websites, but these two websites are tried and true. One of them I've never used, but they have really good reviews. The other one I've actually bought my second camera off of their website. So, and the websites that I'm talking about is B&H Photo and KEH Camera. So those two websites, those are places where you can sell your old gear. So any of you out here that are already doing photography, doing your thing, you want to sell some old gear to get some new gear, you can sell your old gear on there. You can buy used gear on there, and everything on there is certified, checked, so it'll tell you like what the issues with the camera is. If you're somebody that's like, I'll buy a used camera, because some people will sell them on there for parts. So you'll buy a used camera, maybe they're only selling it for parts, and you could take it into somewhere that'll fix it up for you and make it look all nice and brand new. I think for my camera, I got a steal on it because it seemed as though it was like an open box, y'all. It was never used. There was nothing wrong with that camera. When I looked at the description, it said brand new and everything. so I'm assuming that maybe it was like an open box, somebody bought the wrong camera and just decided to sell it, or just thought they didn't want it at all. So I got kind of lucky, but I would always say scour those two websites like really good before you start buying a camera outright. I'm sure you could find whatever camera you are looking for on that website. So those are two tried and trues. That's a little gem that I'm gonna give you guys for, you know, save you a little bit of a coin. Oh, and they also sell like lighting equipment on there, C-stands, all different types of stuff. So it's not just for cameras. The next part we're gonna talk about is we're gonna talk about lenses. Come here. Always remember, you don't need the fanciest camera, but if you have a fire lens, you're golden, okay? Always remember that tidbit. You don't need the most fanciest camera to take some really nice pictures, guys. I've taken pictures like this, like these, and that, and this. So always remember, it's all about your lens. It's not really about your camera body. You can take an amazing photo with a basic camera body, but if your lens is top tier, oh, you have something golden, my friend. So with that being said, well, Maiya, what lenses do I buy? What lenses should I be looking for? What's a good lens to start with? What I would tell you is, when I first started, the best lens and the only lens that I had at the time to take my pictures was a nifty 50. This was my very first lens. It served me well. This is I want to say, which one is this? This is a 1.8. Yeah, so this is a Canon lens at a 1.8. This is a 50mm lens. So the 50mm is a good lens to start with. This is ideal for people who want to take portraits. This is also a prime lens, and what does that mean? Prime means that this is at a fixed focal length. It won't zoom in to another focal length. This is the focal length that it's going to be. So if you want to get closer to your subject, you're going to have to physically move closer. If you want to get further away, you're going to have to physically move back. Now, another lens that I have is actually a zoom lens. Now with zoom lenses, you don't have to move back and forth because this is going to do all the work for you. So this is a 55 to 250mm lens. So like I can go from, and let me just show you guys. So I can go from 55 to 70 to 100 all the way to 250. So you don't have to necessarily like move closer to your subject because this is going to be doing all the work for you. This is ideal for people who want to take sports shots. You know, you're in the stands, you want to get those really zoomed in close shots of your subject. You can do that. People who like to take pictures of nature, animals, obviously you don't want to scare them off, so the further away you are, you can kind of like zoom in and get those really nice pictures. I've used this for creative projects as well. If you know anything about my work, I'm always doing like crazy off the wall stuff because I just love doing that. But I've taken pictures, I've stood on top of chairs far away from my subject and zoomed into it, and I've gotten some really cool shots from it. If I could find some that I know that I use this lens in particular, I would definitely like show y'all the pictures and everything. But that's what the difference between a prime lens and a zoom lens is. But the first lens that I feel like everybody should start with is a 50mm. You could take some very good pictures with these. They give you a nice, really good bokeh effect if you can get like a low focal point. So yeah, that's something that you can look into when it comes to lenses. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more versatile, or you know, you want to have a bunch of different focal lengths, you want a zoom lens, I would say look into a 18 to 35. That's going to give you like a wide range as well. 35 I feel like is the perfect middle range shot. It just, I don't know, I love the bokeh effect on it. I have a 35 right now. I've been loving using it, so that's just, you know, my little tidbit. For now, like an 18 to 35 is good. If you're looking to do a lot of portraits, I would say get a 50 and an 85. A lot of people love the 85. If you're looking to do more creative stuff, you don't have to get a 24. I do have a 24 just because I wasn't gonna spend money on like an 18 to 35 on this camera. I will for like my newer one, but you can get you like a 24 or somewhere in there. 16 is a little too wide for me, and also remember this, when you're going wider, things can get very distorted and look very weird. So if you're taking a picture at a certain angle, the person's leg might look extremely long. I'll try to find a picture of that example. I don't really have none of my own work, but I'll try to find some and tag the person and stuff like that. But you know, it's all about your art style at the end of the day. If that's the look that you're going for, that's cool. But that's just something to keep in mind, that like if you're not going for that, it'll make different body parts look very long. Throughout studying, that's what I've noticed. I'm like, you know, there's something off about this picture, and it'll feel off. Like you're like, something doesn't look right. You're like, oh, their arm is like twice their size of their body. That's crazy. So that's something to look into. Now, I think when it comes to also looking at your cameras, you know, there's this big talk about like, you know, Canon versus Sony. Which one do I go with? Which one is better? And I'm just gonna start by saying this. It is all up to your preference. I own both of the brands. I actually love both. I love both for different reasons. My Canon serves me well in different areas and my Sony doesn't, and vice versa. So I did want to do kind of like some compare and contrast to kind of give you a little bit of a better idea of like what you should be looking at your budget point, and also kind of like to get the most bang for your buck. Now, I gotta start with my Canon because that's what I started with. That's what, you know, my baby is, honestly. So I've had my Canon since I first started. Now, the Canon 80D, I will say, is a very good beginner-friendly camera. The menu system is not that complicated to learn, and it's just very user-friendly. I don't have any issues out of this camera. Everything I needed was right at the touch of my fingers. This is actually like, it has a touch screen in it. It has a flip-out screen. So for those of you that possibly might not even be looking to do photography or anything, but you want to do YouTube, this is a camera that I use for YouTube. So yeah, it's really user-friendly. I don't have no issues out of it. One con about Canon that I will say, just starting off the bat, since we just talked about lenses, is a lot of Canon's cameras do not support third-party lenses. And third-party lenses, if you know anything, they do you justice when it comes to like taking pictures or videos or things like that. So that's anything from your Tamrons, your Sigmas, or any other brands, especially your Sigmas. I'm trying to cop me a Sigma, y'all, like. But yeah, especially like your Sigmas, their mount does not support it. So you kind of get stuck with using their lenses, and their lenses are okay, but there's better lenses out there. Now, if we move on to my trusty dusty Sony, I ain't even gonna lie to you guys, like I love this thing, and I have a Tamron lens on this. Love this thing to death. I'm still learning it. I've only had it for a couple months now, or been actively using it for a couple of months. So one thing that I love about Sony is you can use those third-party lenses. So them very sharp, nice, crisp photos I get is because of the lens that I have on my camera. Another thing that I like about Sony is their video quality is honestly impeccable to Canon, to be honest. Now, Canon does have some good video quality cameras, but I like Sony's a little bit better. I feel like I get a lot more detail, and also I get to play around more so in Premiere. So if you guys know anything about like LUTs or anything like that, I'm still learning it too, but like I can add more filters on top. I can make this look the plainest I want it to be, and I could color grade and put all the filters that I want in there in post. So that's something that I like. This also is a mirrorless camera. Now I do want to talk about that too. My Canon is a DSLR. My Sony is a mirrorless camera. Now, what is the difference between those two things? The easiest way that I can put it, because it was hard for me to figure it out when I was first like trying to look into mirrorless cameras, is basically think of it as this is an all digital camera. That's why the battery in it is trash. This is an all digital camera, and basically when you look through this viewfinder, this is kind of like, when you look through here, this is like the possibility of what your picture could look like. And when you look through a viewfinder in a DSLR, that is actual in real time. That's what your picture will look like when it's, you know, coming through the computer and everything. That's the easiest way that I can put it. And also, if you want me to go in depth about like DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, which one should I get, which one should I start with, we can definitely have another conversation about that. Just make sure you leave a like on this video. But yeah, so when you look through this viewfinder, it's almost like the possibilities of what your camera could be, because actually this camera comes with different filters on it. So you can turn this on black and white and look through the viewfinder, and or take all your pictures in black and white and see what that would look like. You can turn it on fluorescent, see what it's gonna look like. You can do different settings and just see what your pictures are gonna look like. With my DSLR, I do not have that ability of it. When I look through the viewfinder, that's exactly what I'm going to see when I get these pictures on my computer or on my hard drive, whatever. So that's just a little bit of insight on what's the main differences between like mirrorless and DSLRs. Another thing about DSLRs and mirrorless cameras is and I think this is just Sony in general. I'm sorry. The only tidbit I have about Sony that I do not like is this battery will die on you in like 5 minutes. I swear to you. Like there's not one shoot that I've left where my battery was halfway, you know, gone, and maybe I still had enough to do another shoot. No, I finished one shoot, I need to charge my battery again, or I need to change it. Don't particularly like that, but that's more of like an annoyance thing for me. I could shoot on my Canon for hours. This battery is full. When I tell you I could film this whole video, do a photo shoot, possibly do another one, it'll probably start to die once I do that other one. But I done did like maybe an hour or two of recording. I done did like an hour or two of a photo shoot, and then I did a part of another one on one battery. Canon ain't never gonna fail you on a battery, for real. Now, I don't know how their mirrorless cameras do when it comes to batteries, but I know their DSLRs, they're never gonna fail you when it comes to a battery. I have 2 batteries. I've sustained off of those 2 batteries as long as I've had this camera. So yeah, those are just some little things about Sony and Canons. Now you're probably thinking, okay, well, you know, it's a lot of options. Which ones do I start with? If you are a beginner, I would say look into the Canon 80D. I love the camera. I'm sorry, like, it's not sponsored at all, but I just love the camera. Now, when it comes to Sony, what cameras you should get, I think the a7 II is a really good beginner camera. And also, like, even intermediate. This camera really holds up on its own. This camera's a little bit old. I don't remember exactly when this came out, but like, it's been out for a hot minute and it does me well. I know some people who actually still have this camera to this day. They love it. Another camera that you can look into is the Sony a6400. That camera does really, really well too, and it's user friendly. I will say if you are switching from Canon to Sony, for anybody who's, you know, just looking for another camera or just exploring your options, I will say I struggled a little bit with their menu system. Sony is very customizable. You can customize all your buttons. They can do a bunch of different stuff. So they give you a lot more range when it comes to customizing, which I like because it gets me to get everything set up a lot faster. So like my dial will change my ASO, this button will change my aperture, all that good stuff. So that's a good thing about it. But of course, when you're first switching over, you're like, what does all this do? I don't understand. Okay, so y'all, in this video, the last tidbit I'm gonna give y'all is I gotta leave y'all with a starter pack. You know, it's not just about getting the right camera for you and the right lens, it's also about having that right extra gear that you're gonna need to be successful. So I gotta leave y'all with the starter pack, the stuff that you're gonna absolutely, totally need to set you up right. I'm going to start with my, well, all these are non-negotiables, but like my serious non-negotiables. I didn't even have one of these items when I first started. Now I kind of lasted a little bit long because I had like Dropbox and Google Drive, all that good stuff. But if I would have had this, I would have saved myself so much time, and that is a hard drive. You need a hard drive, okay? Put all of your stuff on a hard drive. Do not delete anything. Save the pictures that you take from the very beginning all the way up until present day. Get you a hard drive of 1 terabyte. Now this is gonna cost honestly, for you to even wanna do this, I'm sure you already know, all this is gonna cost you a pretty penny, but you know, this is gonna cost you a pretty penny. I wanna say I spent $70 on this one, but a little tidbit, you know, when Christmas comes around, my fellow photographers, videographers, anything, ask for stuff like this for a gift. I ask my Nana every single year without fail, I need SD cards. I need SD cards. And she buys me SD cards. Use your resources now. And of course, y'all can't take pictures without an SD card. You need an SD card. This is a 64 gigabyte. I would say just to start, you really don't need anything over a 32 or a 64. It just really depends on how much you think you're gonna be shooting. If you think you're gonna be shooting more than like what a 32 gigabyte can hold, then get you a 64. But you're not gonna really need a 128 or a 512. Like, you're not gonna need that big of a, you know, SD card when you first start. So other things that I feel like you were gonna need, don't be like me. And when I say this, please don't be like me. I'm begging out, don't be like me. I did not have a traditional like camera bag when I started. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I did not have a camera bag when I first started. I eventually got one, but it wasn't the top of my priorities list. And it should be on the top of yours, that's why I'm telling you that now. Get a camera bag, okay? That is a non-negotiable. We don't wanna injure our gear. We don't wanna just be flailing around in a regular book bag or anything like that. I was kind of irresponsible when I first started. Y'all, like, sometimes I be thinking I don't know how my Canon survived through so much, because like the creative stuff that I was trying to do with my Canon and not having a camera bag, that was not a good combination. So get a camera bag, and also if you can, get you a cover for your camera. That'll give it another extra protective layer if you drop it or anything. I'm way more careful and sensitive about this camera because y'all, another thing about this camera, it's all glass. This is nothing but glass. And seeing a lens shatter, seeing the back of a camera shatter is like adding pain to a photographer's back. It kills us. We don't want that. Another thing that I think is important for you to have, if you're gonna be taking a lot of outside shoots, or even if you're gonna do in studio. I started with outside, so I definitely wanna recommend this to my people who's gonna do outside work. Get you a reflector. Now, if you don't know what a reflector looks like, it kinda looks like this. You know that little silver, one side is silver and the other side is gold, chic looking thing. You're probably like, why the heck are people using that? That is a reflector. That is going to reflect light onto your subject to fill in those shadows that might be like under their chin, under their eyes. We don't want that. We want them to look bright and glowing. So that's gonna help and fill out those deep shadows that you might see when you're outside in that harsh sun. Get you a reflector. It's gonna help you when you do a lot of outdoor shooting. If you can have a friend hold it for you, then that'll be great. But there's also even stands to make it hold up itself, but they're just a little costly. But you can look on B&H and KH to see if you can find you a deal on that. Okay, so y'all, I think that is everything that you are going to need to have a successful photography journey. But there is so much more about being a photographer that I would love to share with you guys, but I'm going to need your feedback. So definitely leave a comment down below what you think about this video, and leave a like if you guys want a part 2 to this. A part 2 would be everything that I wish I knew before I started photography. And I partially gave y'all a little gem with that, with the K&H photo stuff. I wish I would have knew about that when I first started. I didn't know about that, but there's other things as well. And I just want to leave y'all with this, with your journey, whether you're doing photography, videography, whatever you love to do. Remember to have fun with it, and just learn to create, child. Like, I feel like we don't get to do that as much as creatives. Everything is so technical now, and the world is so saturated with great, amazing photographers, but I think we're also focused on like trying to get to that point of getting better each time that we take a photo, that we don't never sit back and just enjoy our creations. Look at the places that we came from. Look at our improvements from like our very first photo taken to all the way up until now. I know I struggle with that, so I just want to leave y'all with that into your journey. Have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. If you're kind of intimidated about taking photos, get some of your friends. Take photos of them. When I first started, I took photos of my friends. I didn't have nobody else to ask. So that's just something that I want to leave you guys with. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you tell me if you like videos like this. You know, hey, even though y'all been asking for it, I definitely always love the feedback. So definitely let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.